The show looks different, it feels different.
And I think that LA, and particularly the area that we're shooting in Boyle Heights and Rampart and downtown LA, really play a character.
The style of the show is something that Clark Johnson, our director on the pilot, really brought to us. It's an aggressive style of filmmaking that's a lot more associated with features and with independent film than it is with television. We really run and shoot this thing. It's in many ways, the style of the show is you as a viewer are really along on a police ride-along. What's it like to be in the back seat of one of these cars as they're going through a tough part of town?
Billy, who does the camera work's like amazing. I mean, you can have a great show and great actors, and you know, without great camera work, this guy's got the Steadicam, and he's got these amazing, you know, moving shots that always keep you going as an audience member, as opposed to, again, you know, master two-shot, one-shot. He just moves and he makes the show look just phenomenal that way.
The camera's like another character that's there. It's almost docudrama. It really feels like you're in it. As a matter of fact, this is a true story. When I saw the finished cut of the pilot for the first time, this was just a knee-jerk reaction. I got up and I went and I took a shower.
The show originally was called The Barn, referring to the building that our cops worked in. We knew we wanted a different name, and the Shield was something I came up with that kind of expressed a duality. It expressed the badges that our cops wore, but also the shield between the civilians and the criminals, and did the criminals need a shield from the cops in our show? So once we came up with that duality and that name, that's what we stuck with.
Those of us who venture out past our desks sometimes get shot at.
You could have brought more firepower without tipping him off.
Well, who should I have had watching our backs? You? I'd hate to have to change a diaper afterwards.
I think many cop shows really are based on the premise that it's the cops versus the bad guys. In this case, a lot of the drama of this show really springs from the squad house itself. It's really the cops versus each other. They have different takes on how best to do the job.
Vic Mackey's a pit bull. That's sort of my take on him. I mean, he's just a pit bull. He's tough and aggressive and fierce, and he was probably a really cute puppy, but now he's just a mean old pit bull.
Vic is somebody who gets the job done.
You wanted to be your brother, huh?
Ah, yeah!
Kiss your brother.
Oh, stop that!
Where'd he get the meth?
Please, no!
From the onset of this show, what we've tried to do is have Vic walk a very precarious line between hero and villain.
Vic's character is good intention, but greedy. He's got all the flaws rolled into one.
He's someone who I think wants the innocence of the world to be protected and wants the bad guys of the world to be punished. He's not someone who lives by the rules set down by the courts of this country to determine how he does that.
In this building, I'm in charge.
Well, maybe in your own mind, amigo. But in the real world, I don't answer to you. Not today, not tomorrow, not even on Cinco de Mayo.
He produces numbers that the public wants to see. The crime rate is down because of a man like that on their force. And so you can't argue with that.
He's at once the protagonist and antagonist of this piece. And that's thrilling as an actor. You don't get an opportunity to do that ever.
And who are you?
When I go into that interrogation room and I lock that door, you know, it evokes that reaction of, oh, here he goes, and good.
I'm sorry. I wish I could.
You know it's wrong. You know he shouldn't be doing this. Obviously, in this country, we don't beat up suspects. That's, you know, beyond the pale. But if he's gonna beat somebody up, you want him to beat that guy up.
You know, he's someone who I think most of the time we're going to be with, and occasionally he does things which we will say, no, that really crosses the line. That really is going too far. To me, it was always important to end the first episode like this, to show that this wasn't your usual cop. This is an act that really can never really be forgiven. And yet we find ourselves at times rooting for Vic Mackey during the 13 episodes. And it was always important to me to show how there can be goodness in people, even though those people do evil things.
I just talked with Francis. You've got her looking into the strike team again?
Yes.
I got a problem in this squad, David. My captain and my best cop aren't getting along.
We stand for different things.
Benito Martinez is a really talented actor that had the unenviable task of being the cop trying to take down Vic Mackey in season 1. But he's someone who brought to it a real intelligence, a political agenda, and he's someone that we could always rely on to do serious scenes, comedic scenes, and really stand toe-to-toe with Michael Chiklis, which, believe me, is not the easiest thing to do.
What did you do to him?
To who?
Officer Lowe?
Nothing. Is he okay?
He changed his statement. If anything happens to him.
Can't see why it would.
David has a very different take than Vic. David is a very politically ambitious person who grew up as a Latino in this country and I think knows what it's like to suffer at the hands of a police force that goes too far. And there's a conflict, there's a clash between these two.
You and I don't like each other. That's not a new headline.
No, it's not.
But one thing you know, if I come after you, it'll be straight on.
We end up needing each other, and I need him to do things that I myself don't think I'm willing to compromise to do, but I know I can do it with him, and he needs me to do what he can't do.
What people want these days is to make it to their cars without getting mugged. Come home from work, see their stereo still there. Hear about some murder in the barrio, find out the next day the police caught the guy. If having all those things means some cop roughs up some nigger or some spick in the ghetto, well, as far as most people are concerned, it's don't ask, don't tell.
The character of Claudette, when I originally wrote the pilot, was actually called Charles and was supposed to be a man. And we were reading a lot of actors for the role. And CCH Pounder's agent called us up and said, why does this character have to be a man? Why can't CC play this role? And we all looked around at each other and said to ourselves, why can't she play this role?
When I got the role, I asked them if they would keep the masculine dialogue alive and then it just be transported into this body. So right away you sort of knew that Claudette was direct, brutally honest, and didn't hold anything back.
You're not going to believe what just went down between Aceveda and Mackey.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, but this is
If
unbelievable.
anyone gets between those two, is just going to end up with a hose full of piss running down his leg.
She's someone who has a very good understanding of both sides of the argument. She's neither completely on David's side nor on Vic's side. She can understand how each situation calls for different kinds of actions. And in many ways, the central struggle of this series, David versus Vic, is really going to be a fight for Claudette's soul.
I warned you about this guy.
Yes, you did.
It's happened on our turf. You give me the resources, I'll get this guy. The predator was standing right here less than 2 hours ago.
How committed are we to catching him?
When I first started developing Dutch Wagenbach as a character, he really became my outlet for a lot of things I was a big fan of. I read a lot of books about FBI profilers and about true life crimes and about the detectives who solved these crimes. And what I wanted to do was to set Dutch up as being very different than Vic. Vic is the guy who's on the streets really dealing with problems at their core, and Dutch is someone who has an understanding of the psychology of criminals and why they do the things they do. And the fact that they both have some interest in the same woman, Danni, one of our other cops, just makes an even more interesting triangle.
I'm fortunate because the character that I play is, I don't want to use the phrase good cop, but he's a cop that believes that the rules are there for a reason and that you have to follow them. Dutch, in a certain ways, he's a bit of a Boy Scout. If you talk to him about duty and honor and country and flag and those kind of things, those mean something to him.
Which means I've got an interrogation that's probably going to go on all night, which means I need my ding-dongs, and you took them, didn't you?
Right. It's a hard role to take on where, you know, certainly in the whole first part of the series, this is a guy that Vic Mackey tools on and has his way with and is constantly badgering and at times looks quite pathetic. I think one of my all-time favorite moments in The Shield is when he busts the serial killer. In spite of the fact that he's kind of this dorky character, you want for him. He has an innate likability, and Jay brings that to this character and so much nuance. I gotta go run an errand, but I was thinking you and I should hook up for a drink later on tonight.
Oh, yeah, is your wife coming?
Damn, she can't make it.
Damn, neither can I.
Catherine Dent is our tough girl chick who's an officer on the street, and she's someone who she's a little bit of a Southern belle in real life, and she kind of puts that in her pocket while she's filming these tough crime scenes. And she's someone who I think has the beauty to be appealing on screen, but also has the believability of a cop.
1 Tango 13 requested an RA and additional units.
It was interesting putting on the blues because as an actor, I've done a lot of different things. I do a lot of my own stunts. I've always thought I was so tough. And I put on this uniform, and it really kind of froze me up. I thought, oh my God, what do I do now? So I've been taking shooting lessons, going to the range, and learning how to pull a baton and stuff like that.
The character of Danni is an interesting one in that she's someone who's, I think, hasn't had the opportunity yet to face the moral dilemmas that someone like Vic or David has. She's someone who has a hard time bringing her femininity to the job, and someone who has a hard time leaving her police work at home. I think she's someone who started out thinking she could be both and realizes that you can't separate the two completely.
You a brother? Or did you give that up to become one of them? Huh? Look at what you're doing on your brother.
He's not my brother.
He did not. You ain't nothing but an Uncle Tom. Yeah.
Uncle Tom.
That's right. If the auto wrapper fits, wear it, brother.
Shut up.
One of the things that I discovered in my reading and my studying is how oftentimes black cops get it worse in these communities than other people because they're considered sellouts.
This guy has so many different things that, you know, I love all the things that he's going for.
Right.
And then so it's interesting for me the times that he falls short.
I'm not gay. Julia, come on.
I'm not. It's this thing inside of me. I push it down, it goes away, but then it comes back stronger.
Michael Jace, to me, is a really brave actor who's taken on a really difficult role of a closeted homosexual cop who's a rookie in the force, and because of that has a couple strikes against him. And he's really grabbed this role and really shown all the complexities of the character through the first season. And I think you'll see that if you watch the episodes 1 through 13, you're going to see what an incredible emotional journey he goes through. And he's really the vessel that takes us on that journey, and I admire the hell out of him.
Game's over. Color me going. Hey, color you staying, nigger. Badge will look real nice on my mantelpiece right next to my Rookie of the Year trophy. Hey!
Walton Goggins is just a southern redneck wild card that we love to throw into the mix on our show. He's, as you may or may not know, won an Oscar for a short film that he produced and co-starred in called The Accountant. And he's someone that is a real method actor, and anytime you go down to the set and see him getting prepared for a scene, you pretty much want to stay out of his way. And then as soon as he's done filming the scene, he's a guy that you want to have a beer with.
I asked you to babysit him for
Well,
a couple
somebody
hours
needs
for
to teach him a lesson.
By doing what? Executing him?
Well, why not? I mean, isn't that what we do now?
He's an extraordinary actor, one of the few that I've ever worked with who gives you this overwhelming sense of danger in his work. You just don't know what Walton's going to do, and that keeps you on your toes.
Hey, yo, you Hector?
What do you want? Got this vato.
Lemonhead is another guy on the strike team. I like to consider him our surfer with a badge. He's played by Kenny Johnson, who just has a great look and a great sense of humor. And he's just someone who's a little bit of the muscle of the team and is the guy that will bang the heads when they need to be banged.
Oh, you think I'm scared, you pussy? Goddamn! Back off!
He's just gung-ho. I mean, he's an adrenaline junkie. You know, he's a likable guy. He's fun. He's a little out there, wild, crazy, you know. But when it comes to their job, it's just like he loves to be the first one in there, you know, dive through any window. Like, it's got to be no fear, adrenaline.
We have a show that really focuses on lots of conflict between people, and yet behind the scenes, we tend to be people who get along and really respect each other. It's actually opposite of a lot of shows that show how human beings get along, and then you find out that's a real cesspool behind the scenes. We tend to be the opposite.
I've always said that when you go to the theater and watch a film, it's nothing short of a miracle when a movie is actually great. or even good for that matter, because when you think of the process of making a film and how many hands it passes through, so many things can go wrong, so that it really is nothing short of a miracle when it ends up being great on the screen. And I think the same is true with a television series. I mean, there's so many elements have come together to make this show an incredibly special event that it's actually humbling to be a part of it.
I think the important thing to note at the end of all this is that this show never would have come about if FX didn't have the bravery and the fortitude to decide to put it on the air and keep it on the air in the face of a lot of criticism and advertiser boycotts. And it's the kind of show that the networks would never put on the air, and that used to be the sole domain of HBO. And now I think consumers have another choice. FX really, you have to give them credit for standing behind the show. And to everyone at FX, I say thank you.